Here we have a word problem on ratio. Okay, let's go to the question. The ratio of the price of two houses was 16 to 23. 2 years later, when the price of the first has increased by 10% and that of the second by $477, the ratio of the prices becomes 11 to 20. Find the original prices of the two houses. Okay, here we have the ratio of the original price of the two houses. It is 16 to 23. So from this ratio, like if I want to get the original price of the first house and original price of the second house, I have to multiply both the terms of the ratio by the same non-zero number, say x. So that is I have to multiply the first term 16 by the non-zero number x. So this 16x represents the original price of the first house, and when I multiply the second term of the ratio by the same non-zero number x, I'm getting 23x. This is the original price of the second house. Okay, now to get the original price of the two houses, first I have to get the value of the non-zero number x using the other information I have in the question. Once I get the value of x, it can be multiplied by 16 to get the price of the, to get the original price of the first house, and the value of x can be multiplied by 23 to get the original price of the second house. So for that, we have to consider the other information we have in the question. 2 years later, the price of the first has increased by 10% and the second house is increased by 477. After this, these changes, the ratio of the prices becomes 11 to 20. Okay, now let me find the price of the first house after 10% increment. So that is like 2 years later. Let me write the stuff over here. 2 years later. Okay. So the price of the first house, let me write it over here. 2 years later. So the price of the house is 10% increase. That is already the price is 16x. If it is increased by 10%, then 16% plus 10% of the original price, 16x. Okay, let me write it over here. Okay, 16x. Now we can convert this 10% to decimal. 10% to decimal means 10 divided by 100, which is equal to 0.1. And this OF of in mathematics, it can be written as a multiplication times 16x. So 16x, let me write it over here. Positive. When I multiply 0.1 and 16, I'm getting 1.6, that is 1.6x. So when I add them, I'm getting 17.6x. So this is a price of the first house when it is increased by 10%. Okay, now let me get the price of the second house. Okay, so the original price of the second house is 23x. It is increased by $477 according to the information. So the price of the second house will be 23x, the original price, plus the increment, that is $477. So this is the price of the second house after the increment. Now I got the prices of two houses after the two changes are given in the question. That is, the first one is increased by 10% and the second one is increased by $477. So that is 17.6x and 23x positive 477. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do ratio between these two prices. That is 17.6x to 23x positive 477. So this is the ratio between the price of two houses after the two changes we discussed over here. Already this ratio is given in the question itself. That is after these two changes, that is the first one is increased by 10%. The second one is increased by $477. The ratio of the prices becomes 11 to 20. So the ratio that I got over here, the ratio given in the question over here, both of them represent the same stuff. So we can equate them. So then I'm getting it is equal to 11 to 20. Okay, now my aim is to find the value of x. Once I get the value of x, I can plug in over here and I can get the original price of the two houses. Okay, now let's solve for x in this equation. For that, we have to write the ratios on the left side and right side as fractions. So now let me write the ratio on the left side as a fraction. That I'm getting 17.6x divided by 23x positive 477. Sorry. And here we can write this ratio as a fraction. Then I'm getting 11 over 20. Now we can do cross multiplication over here. That is, this numerator has to be multiplied by this denominator and this numerator has to be multiplied by this denominator. Then I'm getting 20 times 17.6x. So I just multiplied this one and this one. On the right side, this 11 has to be multiplied by this denominator. That is 23x positive 477. Now we can multiply this 20 and 17.6. When I multiply 20 and 17.6, I'm getting 352. That is 352x. Okay, now we can distribute this 11 to 23x and 477. That is, we have to multiply this 11 and 23x. So when I multiply them, I am getting 253x When I multiply this 11 and 477, I am getting 5247. Okay, now we have the variable, I mean the terms which contain variable on both sides of the equation. To solve for x, we have to get rid of the term which contains variable on one of the sides. Better we can get rid of the term 253x on the right side. For that, we have to subtract 253x from both sides. Let me do it. When I do so, so this positive value, negative value will cancel out. So when I simplify 352x, negative 253x, I'm getting 99x equals to 5247. Okay, now to solve for x, I have to divide both sides by 99. So this 99 will cancel out. X equals to, when I divide 5247 by 99, I'm getting 53. Okay, now I got the value of x. The value of x is 53. Okay, according to the question, we have to find the original price of the two houses. Already we got the original prices of the two houses in terms of x. There is this 16x represents the original price of the first house, and this 23x represents the original price of the second house. Okay, now to get the original price of the first house, what I have to do is I have to plug in this 53 for x over here. Okay, now let me do it. So that is 16 times 53. When I multiply this 16 and 53, I am getting $848. Okay, now to get the original price of the second house, what I have to do is I have to plug in x equals to 53 over here. Okay, now let me do it. So that is 23 times 53, which is equal to $1,219. So the original price of the first house is $848, and the original price of the second house is $1,219.